I am Mike Torsia, and welcome to Live Well and Thrive. I have a very dear friend and special guest, Pav.
How are you? Well, Mike, it's always so nice to see you. Your advice is always so impactful, so helpful, honest, and simple, which I love.
I appreciate that. I remember when we met through Anthony Scotti that time way back.
Yeah.
We just connected.
How many years was that?
God, it must be at least 5-6 years at least, right? But we kind of understood each other. That's why we never kind of felt like apart, like I hadn't seen you in years. And then when I saw you, it was like running into an old friend again, but it was like an immediate kind of chemistry. We respect each other. And I like the fact you're always a gentleman and always sharp dresser. I admired that right away.
You too.
And you're so kind to people. And I gravitate towards people that have good kindness and loving thoughts about the world, not angry people, And you and I have talked about every aspect of life. And what I was impressed with you is that you lived the life and you have a very successful career where most people would think that you're doing these deals worth hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, but you always make the time to get to the gym and exercise and eat healthy choices of food. You're a family man, you have children, and you make sure they exercise, they eat healthy. I mean, you're an example of what families should do in working together, but you're the captain of the ship. And I love the fact that you're sensible. And I remember we had that conversation not too long ago at Craig's, and you were telling me you had all these young guys that are watching YouTube and watching the Uberman and Atia and all these other people suggesting all these things to do. And they're taking some of them 32 different supplements. One's for sleep, one's for energy, one's for focus, one's for digestion, one's for joint pain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what happens is you're overloading your system more.
100%.
And then, tell them exactly what you're telling me with one of your friends, what he was doing.
Well, this is the thing, right? So, most of my friends are males in, mid-40s, okay? You have all the disposable income in the world, okay? So then all of a sudden you get these marketers that pitch you all of these things. And the difference between a marketer and a doctor is a doctor will give you the upside and the downside of everything. A marketer will only pitch you the upside, this sort of holy grail of something. So you end up taking these cocktails of a bunch of these substances. Some are organic, some aren't. Whatever it is, they're not regulated, FDA regulated or anything like that. And then they start having issues. They have sleep issues, and then they have to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And then they have another issue. So they don't know, how all of these things interact. Meanwhile, they're searching for a quick fix, right? And there's no such thing as a quick fix. You have to, the way I sort of look at it is, I don't exercise a ton, but, 2 or 3 times a week, a good mix between cardio, weights, and then eat sensibly, don't, overindulge if, making all of these cheat diets and all of these things, cheating on your diet and all of that, it catches up to you. So you have to be very disciplined, I think.
But don't you feel that when you plan your week, you have to plan.
You have to plan
your workout, your meeting, your obligations. I remember it was George Washington and Thomas Edison did time blocking. They actually would make a list of what they need to accomplish
100%.
and write it at that time. I've been doing that for over 12 years. And I always get everything done because I need to get it done at that time. That reassures you're going to get it done. Because if you do a checklist of just 10 things, if I get 5 or 6, it's okay, maybe 7. But that's not being efficient. But you're more like a time blocker like me. Because with what you're doing, and you have so many people that you're responsible for, because you have these major investors all over the world, you have to make sure you have that time for that meeting, for that meal, but also make time for yourself. You stay in great shape. You always got great posture. You look incredibly healthy. And it's because you make the extra effort, not to say, well, Monday I'll work out sometime.
Well, I think that's very interesting. When you're a busy person, typically your time's blocked, right, around the day and evening, because not only do you have, markets during the day, you have family obligations, perhaps dinners in the evenings, meeting you sometimes, chatting. And, it's really important to plan ahead because you have all of these meetings and all of these things. So it's important, wake up at 5 a.m. when no one bugs you. Plan your day out, plan your week out. And when you do that, you feel less stressed, number one, and you've sort of devoted this block of time so you can actually focus on your exercise or focus on whatever's important to you.
You know, Gates, on many occasions, has emphasized that academics everything. And I had proposed to him to help integrate a program that I wanted to do for children in the school system.
That's right. You were telling me about that.
And he refused to do it. He said, it's unimportant. They'll eventually lose the baby fat. Academics is the only thing I'm concerned about. And I was quite shocked for someone that was supposed to be such a brilliant man. And because the emphasis should be healthy mind, body, soul, every aspect. Because if a child is feeling ugly and fat and bloated, like when I was 14 years old, that's how I felt. It affected my grades. I had
Of course.
D's. And then as I noticed when I started working out and building my
Dopamine,
body, right?
Influence.
My parents started getting C plus. So there's a correlation from how I felt about myself and my intelligence level. It grew because I started feeling better about myself instead of suppressing myself.
Very good point.
I just feel that when I see your children, they're all healthy, in good shape, no one's overweight, you've really, really set an example for your family, which is a beautiful thing. And that's why I loved having you on today, because you have this sensible approach, but there are so many other business people that like you that are super successful that could care less about going to the gym or making those food choices. Like we have our dear friend Gary Winnick. I mean, he always kept eating excessive amounts of food. And, he recently passed away, and he spent all his time on making money and being successful, but never really focused on his health. And what good is having all that money if you don't have your health? Isn't it so true?
No, 100%. And also, I think is, when you instill this in your family, it becomes a feedback loop as well, right? So not every day you're in the mood to sort of work out, eat well, but I think that once you sort of instill this sort of ecosystem within your family, even the days you don't feel like doing it, you do it because they sort of force you to do it. So, and even friends, and that's why I sort of tell my friends, don't take the easy way out, don't take that sort of pill, don't take that, because, that instant gratification never works, especially when it comes to your body, genetics, and so on. You can't beat that.
Yeah. Well, like for instance, Uberman had a segment on sleep,
Right.
and supplements help induce sleep. So of course, mentions glycine, and then he mentions tryptophan and melatonin
Right.
and inositol and magnesium and calcium. And he said, well, you could do this, you could do that, whatever. So I started checking around some people that follow him. And what most of the people did was they just took all of it.
Not knowing their own
and
biology.
Right. And so now you don't know if it was helping or is it all. And what happens is your kidneys and liver, those are filters, okay? So now they're overworking, your pancreas is overworking, and it can disrupt everything in your body and not give you more sleep. So, and again, they never mention anything about adverse effects.
No.
Because they're marketers, right? So that's why I created Live Well and Thrive. Real talk, facts.
Honest, simple.
Not opinion. This is how it works. This is what happens when you do a certain exercise or certain way of eating. This is what can happen. But this is also adverse effects, because if you exercise too much and you overtrain, you break down the muscle tissue. You're actually flat. You actually soften up. So there's things about thyroid and testosterone and estrogen and balancing it all out. And I always tell people, best thing is get blood test. Comprehend. That's your roadmap. Then you know well, I am low in vitamin D3.
Your
I'm in the,
deficiencies,
then
that.
you could figure out, going to a nutritionist or a doctor that knows about supplementation. Because if your vitamin D3 is low, you're compromising your body. Did you know that studies showed that when people that passed away from COVID had extremely low levels of vitamin D3,
I
people
didn't know
that
that.
had vitamin D3 were more resistant to the COVID virus. Vitamin D3 is a hormone. People don't understand that. And it's a very important hormone. Also DHEA and other things. And if your body doesn't manufacture it, at a level that's normal, you should take a supplementation, but it has to be by someone advising you so you don't what we medicate, because vitamins are just over-the-counter drugs. That's it. But if people have someone that can advise them and has the background on body chemistry, and it's not trying to sell them a product, but if you watch these shows, sign up for this and greens that and these nuts and whatever, but to get back to it, they're just selling you. It's like the old, remember years ago, the guys who drive around
100%.
in the wagon with the snake oil? It hasn't stopped. They just have a different way of doing it.
Well, they're better at sort of convincing you, and especially when you're in between, 45 to 55, sort of age group, you're trying to sort of beat the clock, at that point. And that's when they sort of get you with, the storytelling's amazing, and how they sort of bring all of these sort of dislocated sort of facts into this beautiful story, but it's not really, I mean, it may be backed by science, but it's not fully backed by science. And then all of a sudden you're ingesting all of this stuff, whereas your body may not need it.
No, you're right. And then you're now, if you're taking a supplement, you're taking all these supplements and you are sleeping, you have to keep taking all those pills every single
Right.
day.
When do you stop?
Right. And then if you don't take it, you're not going to sleep because now your body
Is used to it.
is used to it. Now
It's
you
conditioned to
can't induce sleep. Also, too, I remember years ago that Tony Horton guy had the beach body. And I never thought much of it. And I always kept saying to people, I think that's too extreme. People are going to get hurt. Over the years, I started getting reports because I know I have my hospital connects from UCLA to Providence to Cedars. One of the biggest things people were having was torn rotator cuff, torn meniscus from those Beachbody extreme workout programs that were so intense and fast. And I started seeing so many people getting injured. I always thought that you don't take a sedentary person, tell them to do this workout, which is a very aggressive workout. They barely ever did anything in their life.
Right.
And then it's explosive and people started having injuries. That's why you don't hear about them anymore, beach bodies anymore. They made billions of dollars. It was like a hit and run and it's gone. I've never endorsed any of that crap in my life. I've won Mr. USA. I was Mr. California, Teenage Mr. America, all these titles that I've won over the years. I never sold myself. I wasn't a fitness whore. When I saw all these other guys making tons of money and driving fancy cars and all that stuff, I couldn't sell my soul. There was one gentleman that made a fortune in these weight loss supplements, and he goes, Mike, you could be the face of the company. And I said to him, do you realize what you have in here? This weight loss medication is nothing but diuretics and high amounts of caffeine. People are going to have heart attacks, strokes, can even have a heart attack. And if they get dehydrated, there you go. So he goes, oh, no. So sure enough, he put on the market, catchy name, and all of a sudden, aim at hundreds of millions of dollars. And he was driving around with his fancy cars and see what you could have had. And I said, no, it's okay. I don't need that shit. Sure enough, about 10 years later, all the lawsuits. He now lives in a basement apartment in Brentwood.
No. Wow.
Doesn't even have a car. Can barely get around. Last time he asked me for a loan. And here's the guy that I think was over $180, $200 million he made from it. And I warned him, I will not be involved in anything that potentially could hurt people, kill people. But all he cared about was that dream about making this money.
Or maybe internally he believed it too, but there was no backing behind it.
Yeah, well, he was making claims you shouldn't. And then he got in trouble with the FDA for making claims that are not true. But all it was stimulants and diuretics. That's a deadly cocktail.
Right.
That can kill you. Even women, remember years ago, they had that liquid protein diet. People died of heart attacks from it because when they just had liquid protein, they weren't getting the electrolytes and they got extremely dehydrated and had heart attacks and strokes. So that's why that liquid protein diet was for a fad, but it actually hurt people. But people weren't aware
You
of
never
it.
know after the fact.
Right. So that's why I created the show, was to make sure people know it's sensible advice backed up by studies that are proven by either universities or research
That's great.
groups or doctors that know what they're talking about, not some guy that's just on there and slick looking and talking about all these supplements or these methods. So like, there's lots of things you can do. Like what I do every morning when I get up is I go outside, I let my dogs out in the backyard, and I have bare feet on, shorts, and like a tank top. And I don't care if it's raining, I don't care what it's like. I look up into the sky and I take, deep breaths in and out for like 2 to 3 minutes. And my feet are on the wet grass. It's kind of chilly, and that chill is good. It stimulates your body. And I could feel the vibrations from my fingers go into my feet because there's magnetic waves that are coming from the universe. Okay. And it helps cleanse the body, actually stimulates your body to manufacture more alkaline in your body. And I got to tell you something. And there's sometimes when I didn't have as much sleep because I had to work very late. I get outside and I do that. I feel like $1,000,000. It kind of reboots my system. So it's a ritual thing. So now when I go out there, my 2 pit bulls stand next to me and they all both, I got to have a picture. They're both looking up like this, doing what I do. And then they come in and they run around the house feeling healthy, but they do exactly what I do.
That's hilarious.
It's hysterical. So I also started giving my dogs alkaline water in their bowl. Every neighbor goes, "Why do you have such green grass?" Because my dogs drink alkaline water and it lowers the acidity level in the urine.
Maybe I'll do that with my dog.
No, do it. You won't have brown grass anymore. So little simple things like that. So I like to use these little techniques that are fantastic. And I've been working with Dr. Harhari, who has this amazing facility. It's a holistic healing transformation clinic. And I started doing this red light, which I'm going to talk about in the next segment, and is really changing my life. I mean, I feel more vibrant. I have less joint pain. I just feel like internally my body feels happier. And it's this red light.
Holistic feel.
It's all holistic. So everything I'm doing is more holistic, natural, no shortcuts, not relying on supplementation. And the only supplements I take is if my blood test result says I have a low level, but I only add what I need, not over medicate. And thank God you're at a point where you don't need it. You're not taking any supplements, right? So you're eating real food. The closer to the ground, the better it is.
Yeah, anything that's sort of packaged, you got to be sort of worried about that a little bit.
Yeah.
What makes it last so long? I mean, you can't have normal food last that long. So you got to be cognizant about that. But the one thing I want to sort of talk to you about is, this whole Ozempic situation and then these GLP-1s and so on. And do you feel that that's going to be an issue too with people?
Oh, it's a death sentence, because here's the thing is, and these are from the medical journals because I read the medical journals every single week. 40% of weight loss on those weight loss drugs is muscle. You're cannibalizing your muscle tissue.
I see.
Okay. Next, there's a certain percentage of it is fluid because you dehydrate. And then the rest is fat. But think about it. As they call the Ozempic S, is because it's like Pac-Man eating, your body needs protein. So your muscles are stored protein. So it starts eating up the muscle and it liquefies it. So that's why they call people on Ozempic S. It's flat, non-existent. Ozempic face, gaunt, drawn in, look like you lived in a concentration camp
Right.
for years. Also, women are getting these pancake breasts because the breast tissue is fat. It's feeding off the breast tissue, and you have these Ozempic breasts. And now all of a sudden they have a whole other set of problems because now they've lost like all this weight and all this loose skin. All these plastic surgeons in Beverly Hills are
Minting
fully
it.
booked and making so much money removing the skin. And it's a horrible thing. You look like Frankenstein with all this. It's not. I've seen some of my clients that did it.
Really?
It's disgusting looking. It's horrible what they had to do with their body. But also too, calories. All fasting is too, because Ozempic causes you to basically not eat. And then people do this intermittent fasting, which is very dangerous. It's all about caloric restriction. That's what fasting is. People don't understand it. If you consume a certain amount of calories, say it's 2,500 calories a day, just hypothetically, and you omitted 500 calories a day, by the end of the week, that's 3,500 calories. That's 1 pound. Now, if you did cardio and other kind of workouts and you burnt 500 calories, now that's 1,000. So that's 2 pounds a week. Or you could fast for 2 days and say you now didn't have 5,000 calories. Now you take the 5,000 calories out of the equation, it's going to add up to, you lose like that 2 pounds, okay? So to say. So all it is a mathematical number. I'd rather reduce my calories,
be consistent,
and increase exercise than starve myself. Because when you don't eat, you eat your muscle tissue, which is stored protein. The body just has to survive. So Ozempic is just like fasting because it makes you have no desire to eat. And also you lose your desire and your taste buds to enjoy food. I'm Italian. I love to eat. That's why I started working out, was because I was a fat kid. So I can eat, exercise, right? So if I was to be told, well, you can lose all this weight, but you'll never be able to enjoy food again, I must just put a gun in my head. Because what's life all about? Enjoying yourself. But when they take Ozempic or do this extreme, there are people that fast all year round. And you look at them, they've lost their muscle, their butter's saggy, there's no fullness.
Something doesn't look right,
Right. So it's you don't stop that fast fix. Be smart. Increase your activity, reduce your calories, balance it out. Look, you lose 3-4 pounds a week that way, 10, 12 pounds into the month, 3 months, you got 30 pounds off. Then get to a maintenance program. It's simple. I'm offering the simple, easy, safe, and effective way. You could lose it really fast, but you don't look like shit. And what good is looking good in your clothes when you take your clothes off and you have saggy, soft, small body? Because I look better with my clothes off. And I want to feel that way. But if you have to just cover yourself, go, oh, you look good in that jacket or that suit or that skirt.
Maybe it leads to mental issues. Who knows?
Really. But the thing about it is you have to look at yourself in the mirror. And I have so many people. I was at Steak 48 and this woman goes, my daughter has been on Ozempic. She lost so much weight. And I saw her come out of the shower. She looked like a 90-year-old woman with all this saggy skin. Michael, I need your help. And I'm helping her now.
Oh, good.
But I'm telling you something, Ozempic and that excessive intermittent fasting is so dangerous. I just cannot keep telling people enough. Just balance your meals. Just balance your workout program.
Be consistent.
Be active.
Yeah.
Like when I go to the gym, I park my car at the very top level and I walk down. I don't use the elevator. I go and I work out. I do the cardio. As soon as I get off the cardio, I kind of sprint down the stairs. I sprint over and I sprint up the stairs because I want to get more calories burned. I don't look for shortcuts. I look for more. I don't look to make my workout shorter. I like to make it more efficient. So I calculate these things. If you just start calculating like a mathematical, like when you look at an investment, if you look at your health that way, you'll be smart. You'll get the results. And you won't have to.
But it has to be an active process.
Right.
Not passive.
Right. You have to really time block it, like you say, and other things. But that's what this show's all about. I'm not saying you got to do what I say. Hey, but maybe it'll make you think. And maybe you'll consider other things. And maybe you'll stay away from those extreme things and stop watching that YouTube because it's just feeding you bullshit.
100%.
But listen, Pav, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure. Happy to help everyone along the way and really believe in you and your vision. And thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I just want to thank you for tuning in to Live Well and Thrive. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. That was great, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode. Got great news. The merch is ready. You're going to see an array of all kinds of great products. Go to operationfitness.com. If you want to order anything, click on my store. Thanks for your support.